Hello there, my friends. Welcome to Carpo's channel. In this episode, or this installment of Carpo's Reality, I'm going to do a little video here about herbs that may or may not be useful for cancer. I'm just going to come out right with it. I'm absolutely not declaring that there's a magic cure for cancer in herb form or medicine form, because we know that it's an all-around issue of health. We have cancer cells in our body. Sometimes they replicate out of control. There's not a lot of understanding of sometimes why these things go out of control and why sometimes they don't. The best we can do is try to arm ourselves. And when a person says, hey, there's herbs that may help with cancer, a person's likely to roll their eyes and say, that natural medicine, we're beyond that. We've moved into the world of modern medicine. But in my opinion, watching my father waste away, being shot full of chemicals and chemotherapy, losing his hair, getting a fat gut, losing his mind completely, it was basically a wake-up call to me, and that was when I realized how important that simple realizations and knowledge about what cancer is important. And of course, a lot of people realize this. This is why there are so many movements to try to help people with cancer. But you got to be careful what you're making claims about, and as well, we don't want to be using something that's ineffective, that might not even be doing any good for us. And then there's also the placebo effect, and how much can you actually cure yourself? And there are several cases of people who have gone into remission after taking a drug that they were told cures cancer, and then when they found out that it didn't work, their cancer came back. It has to do with the way that the mind works on the body, and the mind-body connection is not as well understood as we'd like to think. And a lot of people seem to think that it's mind over matter, that anything we think we can create in our bodies, that we can heal ourselves, when the reality is that it's more complex. Sometimes you get an ailment that can't be cured, no matter how much you think about it. Whereas sometimes we are creating the ailments merely by thinking about them and manifesting them on that level. I designed, in my father's name, I designed this blend. It's called Gregor's Blend. And it's basically all the research has led up to this point that I've done on herbs for cancer-related issues. It's a combination of turmeric, black pepper, and which combining those two, by the way, makes turmeric up to 2,000 times more bioavailable, and you get 20 times more effective. Which is a pretty amazing amount. Turmeric, black pepper, cordyceps sinensis, wormwood, ashwagandha, ginger, and Ceylon cinnamon. Now, I'm going to read this pamphlet, and this is why I'm really here. This is some of the information I've collected on these various herbs and some of the research, and I find it fascinating. And as much as people can Google and do their own homework, a lot of people just would rather hear about it and then try to dig through. And I figure since I'm doing the legwork, I might as well share what I've learned. So we're going to start with cordyceps. And these are taken from various internet sources. Please don't think that these are 100% accurate by any means. It's the best I could do. Cordyceps. For thousands of years, the mushroom known as cordyceps has been used in traditional Chinese medicine to treat problems ranging from coughs and fatigue to impotence and cancer. And once Western scientists started considering that anecdotal reports of the mushroom's curative powers might be something more than folk tales, research started accumulating that backs up many ancient claims about cordyceps' health benefits. For example, scientists from the University of Nottingham in Great Britain say they've documented how cordyceps can fight cancer, and the new discovery could increase the effectiveness of mushroom-derived cancer treatments. For the study, published in the Journal of Biological Chemistry, Dr. Cornelia de Moor of the University of Nottingham and her colleagues investigated a drug called cordycepin, which was originally extracted from wild-growing cordyceps, and is now prepared from a cultivated form of the mushroom. Because of technical obstacles and people moving on to other subjects, it's taking a long time to figure out exactly how cordycepin works on cells. With this knowledge, it will be possible to predict what types of cancers may be sensitive and what other types of cancer drugs it may effectively combine with. It could also lay the groundwork for the design of new cancer drugs that work on the same principle, Dr. de Moor said in a statement to the media. The university scientists found that cordyceps-derived treatment has two important effects on cells that could impact growth of malignant tumors. At low doses, cordycepin inhibits the uncontrolled growth and division of cells, while at higher doses it prevents cells from sticking together, essentially blocking the cells from growing. The research team concluded that each of these effects is most likely the result of a single underlying mechanism. Cordycepin interferes with how cells make proteins. Specifically, low doses of the mushroom-derived treatment interfere with the production of mRNA, the molecule that directs cells to assemble a protein. And at higher doses, cordycepin directly interacts with the making of proteins. Our discovery will open up the possibility of investigating the range of different cancers that can be treated with cordycepin, Dr. Moore stated. We have also developed a very effective method that can be used to test new, more efficient, or more stable versions of the drug in the Petri dish. This is a great advantage, as it will allow us to rule out any non-runners before anyone considers testing them in animals. So that's an amazing one by itself. And that's the one, that's just a bonus reason why I even carry cordyceps. It's just because it's such a wonderful herb. And I have a couple pounds of it, and I was thinking, this is like gold. But back in the day, it was like gold because they were wild harvested. And for those who don't know, cordyceps are a small fungus that's harvested off of a dead caterpillar. And it grows out of the ground off of a caterpillar's head. It's basically a parasitic fungus, and they would hand harvest them. And at one time it was up to $900 an ounce. And some of the wild stuff still sells for high prices in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. But here in America, places like Aloha Medicinals grow it indoors, and it has a very good spectrum, and it makes it unbelievably cheap. The fact that it's cheap doesn't mean that it doesn't work. And that's one of the things I think we have, is we have all of these available plants and herbs that may work for things, but there's not enough research to back it up, perhaps, or there's not enough faith in what they do. So on to the next one. Oh, there's more cordyceps. I'm going to try to skim through this so I don't sit here and talk forever, because some of it's just studies. There was a study showing that oral cordyceps can reduce occurrence of cancer spreading to the lungs in the metastatic breast cancer. Although the researchers found cordyceps does not reduce the growth of the primary breast tumor, they noted that deaths from breast cancer are primarily due to the development of metastasis. That means a treatment which stops the spread of metastatic tumors could save countless lives. Okay, so on to the next one. Turmeric and black pepper, because this is a fascinating one. I've heard several stories about turmeric not just being potentiated by black pepper, but being heated to activate, whereas some herbs can't be heated past a certain point. And preparation is key for many of these herbs. A new study shows that a combination of turmeric and piperine, which is the main ingredient in black pepper, can limit the growth of stem cells for breast cancer, the stem cells that conventional treatment have the hardest time eliminating. Okay. Madhuri, it's Madhuri Kakarala, a physician at the University of Michigan, published an important article on the effects of turmeric on breast cancer stem cells. Stem cells are at the center of a theory that seeks to explain why cancer can sometimes return, despite apparent effective treatment. This is because even when all the cancer cells have been eliminated, these cancer stem cells that have lied dormant and escaped treatments may still be able to form entire new colonies of cancer cells. So, to prevent relapse, it's essential that we learn how to eliminate stem cells. But unfortunately, because they don't actively renew themselves through cell division like other cells, existing treatments that target cancerous cells aren't effective against stem cells. So, for several years now, Madhuri's lab at the university has been studying the effects of breast cancer, of curcumin on breast cancer, one of the most active substances in turmeric, and piperine, which is the substance active in black pepper. In her latest study, she demonstrates that concentrations of curcumin and piperine, which can be obtained through diet or from dietary supplements, are capable of eliminating breast cancer stem cells without causing any damage to the normal breast cells. In other words, this isn't a general toxic effect on the cells like conventional anti-cancer treatments have, but an ultra-selective impact on cancer stem cells alone. This shows that these compounds are not toxic to normal breast tissue, Madhuri says. Women at high risk of breast cancer right now can choose to take the drugs tamoxifen or raloxifene for prevention, but most women won't take these drugs because there's too much toxicity. The concept that dietary compounds can help is attractive, and curcumin and piperine appear to have very low toxicity. The possible anti-cancer properties of curcumin and piperine have been the object of many studies, but this study is the first to show that they may have targeted effect on stem cells. Medications like tamoxifen and raloxifene act only against cancers that are sensitive to estrogen. If curcumin and piperine can target stem cells, they have the potential to be useful in many types of breast cancer. Majority's study was performed on cell colonies in petri dishes in lab conditions, so we haven't yet reached the stage of a clinical study that would establish guidelines for recommendations. However, given that turmeric and pepper, taken as part of a normal diet, are practically never toxic in any way, it seems to me to be perfectly reasonable to recommend that all of us regularly consume a spoon of turmeric every day with a pinch of pepper. You can use it in all your cooking like I've been doing for years. Now, note, it says, it is often safest to avoid turmeric during chemotherapy, as well as 3 days before and after the treatment. This is because it can, rarely, interfere with some chemotherapy treatments and reduce their benefits. So, the next one we're working on here, we haven't even gotten anywhere yet. Ginger. Ginger, a cousin spice of super anti-cancer substance turmeric, is known for its ability to shrink tumors. Astoundingly, it is even more effective than many cancer drugs, which have been shown to be completely ineffective and actually accelerate the death of cancer patients. Commonly consumed across the world in small doses among food and beverage products, the medicinal properties of ginger far surpass even advanced pharmaceutical inventions. I find that a pretty bold claim, but it is fascinating stuff. The subject of one study based out of Georgia State University, whole ginger extract was revealed to shrink prostate tumor size by a whopping 56% in mice. The anti-cancer properties were observed in addition to ginger's role in reducing inflammation, as well as being a rich source of life-enhancing antioxidants. But what about the cancer drugs? Could this simple spice really topple the advanced pharmaceuticals that are often touted as the only option for cancer patients? It turns out that cancer drugs are not only severely ineffective at permanently shrinking tumors, but they actually make tumors larger and kill the patient more quickly. More specifically, the tumors have been found to I thought it was metastasize. I thought it was metastasize. Meaning they come back bigger and even more stronger than their original size. What's more, the metastasizing was found to be very aggressive. According to scientist Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, the premium price tags drugs were a little more than death sentences in many patients. Whatever manipulations we're doing to tumors can inadvertently do something to increase the tumor numbers by becoming more metastatic. There we go. That was a different spelling. Which is what kills patients at the end of the day. Those are the very drugs considered to be scientifically proven solution by mainstream health officials. Meanwhile, ginger presents virtually no side effects and has been used as a food byproduct by many cultures for countless centuries. Instead of creating super tumors, whole ginger extract was shown to exert significant growth inhibiting and death inductory effects on a spectrum of prostate cancer cells. Over 17 other studies have also reached similar conclusion on ginger's anti-cancer benefits, with the spice being shown by peer-reviewed research to positively impact beyond 101 diseases. I'm going to take a break here. It's amazing stuff, but... And I'm getting closer. Wormwood is the next one, and this is one I've only recently really been into, and I'm very curious. Amazing herb kills 98% of cancer cells. Okay. Okay, I'm going to skip. Okay, according to Life Science, artemisinin, which is an extract from wormwood, was used in Chinese medicine, and it can kill 98% of lung cancer cells in less than 16 hours. The herb used by itself reduces lung cancer cells by up to 28%, but in its combination with iron, Artemisia annua successfully and completely erases cancer, and in the experiment this herb had no impact on healthy lung cells. Artemisinin in the past was used as a powerful anti-malarial remedy, but now it's proven that this cure is also effective in the fight against cancer. When scientists added iron while conducting the study, which later attached to lung tissue, especially to cancer-infected cells, artemisinin selectively attacked bad cells and left good cells untouched. In general, our results show that artemisinin stops E2F1 transcription factor and intervenes in destruction of lung cancer cells, meaning it presents a transcription wave according to which artemisinin, my eyes are kind of going out here, and my brain. Controls, let's see, okay, let's skip down here. Boom, boom, boom. There are numerous experiments conducted so far, and they all prove that in combination with iron, wormwood can effectively destroy cancer. And this extract was used in China for thousands of years as a cure for malaria. Malaria parasite cannot survive in the presence of it because it's rich in iron, and bioengineers Henry Ley and Narendra Singh from the University of Washington were the first scientists to discover this. Their research proved that cancer cells undergo apoptosis, or self-destruction, and until this moment it was difficult to get the extract for more acceptable prices. But people show more and more interest in this herb, so the prices could get lower. And on a side note, I put the full wormwood in my blends instead of using the extract because I'm a kind of a sucker for whole raw herbs. But here's the next one. We're getting close to being done. I mean, what's the rush, right? We're learning about things that might save our lives. Ashwagandha. This is one of my favorites. It's funny because I usually just sell it as a raw herb, but I started putting it in blends because I found out about the anti-cancer benefits. Both human and animal studies have shown evidence for the use of ashwagandha as an anti-cancer herb. Lab and some animal studies show that ashwagandha components slow the growth of many types of cancer cells, including breast cancer, central nervous system, colon, leukemia, lung, melanoma, prostate, and sarcoma. How does it work? Numerous studies demonstrate that ashwagandha works in multiple ways to help prevent or stop the growth of the often deadly disease of cancer. Antioxidant protection of normal cells against cancer, pro-oxidant attacks against cancer cells, enhances the effect of chemotherapy and radiation against cancer cells, protects normal cells against damage from conventional cancer therapy, effectively stops growth of treatment-resistant cancer cell lines, stops angiogenesis, the creation of new blood vessels that feed cancer and help it grow and spread, binds to and blocks proteins that cancers need to grow, and stimulates proteins that help keep normal cells stable. Evidence of benefit. Out of 13 different constituents in ashwagandha, 10 of them showed anti-cancer activity against 4 different cancer cell lines: lung, colon, breast, and CNS. The potency of the effect was dependent upon the dosage level. Withaferin A, a steroidal constituent of ashwagandha, had the strongest effect against all 4, even more than the chemotherapy drug adriamycin against the breast and colon cancer lines. Animal studies show ashwagandha can enhance the effects of conventional cancer treatments on cancer while simultaneously protecting healthy cells from negative side effects. For example, in studies involving mice with fibrosarcoma and treatment-resistant melanoma tumors, ashwagandha extracts increase the effectiveness of radiation in killing cancer cells by sensitizing them. While ashwagandha provides antioxidant protection against oxidative stress produced by tumor cells and some conventional treatments, it in fact increases the susceptibility of cancer tumor cells to oxidative damage from free radicals. One of the ways that ashwagandha prevents cancer from proliferating and spreading is by interrupting cell divisions and inhibiting the development of new blood vessels that feed the voracious cancer cells. An animal study modeling lung cancer demonstrated that ashwagandha supported the chemotherapeutic activity of paclitaxel, while its antioxidant properties reduced the oxidative stress caused by the tumors. I know there's a lot of funny wording in there. I'm going to have to maybe get a better one to read in the future. In pancreatic cancer, one of the most aggressive and deadly types of cancer, lab studies indicate that one of the withaferin A significantly stimulates cell death in a number of pancreatic cancer cell lines. Withaferin A appears to target and limit the activity of a specific protein, HSP90, that binds with and helps other proteins mature that then stimulate and promote the growth and survival of cancer cells. Lab and animal research using grafted human pancreatic tumors shows that it blocks HSP90's cancer-promoting activity in at least 4 different ways. This makes withaferin A different than other known HSP90 inhibitors, and may explain its potency against pancreatic tumors. Water extracts of ashwagandha leaves, which also contain withaferin A, may offer treatment option for another particularly deadly cancer, glioma, one of the most prevalent types of brain tumors. There are few conventional treatment options for this aggressive and invasive cancer. Lab studies show that ashwagandha blocks the growth and metastatic potential of glioma tumors, and at high doses kills the tumor cells. Ashwagandha stimulates HSP70, a heat shock protein called mortallin. And yes, I'm saying protein on purpose. I can't help it. Somebody said it called proteins once, and I thought, I'm just gonna call it proteins. High levels of this protein are found in brain cell mitochondria that help regulate mitochondria and normal cell functioning, while dysfunctional mitochondria are associated with cancer. Ashwagandha also appeared to stimulate production of two other proteins that help control the growth and spread of glioma tumor cells. All right, it's good stuff. And that's just one of the things. Ashwagandha has so many freaking benefits. It's just amazing. I mean, I put it in my smoothie, like 5 grams a day. I love it. Okay, Ceylon cinnamon. This is the last one, I believe. While doing research to find out if Ceylon cinnamon can cure cancer, I came across a very interesting report from Pfizer. Sri Lanka and India had 90... Okay, no, I'm not going to go to that because that's actually anecdotal and there's no evidence for me to say that how many cancer rates by an area has anything to do with with cinnamon. I'm just going to skip to here. Yeah, basically there's 2 different kinds of cinnamon. There's cassia and then there's Ceylon cinnamon. The one I use is Ceylon. Cassia has a lot more coumarin. Coumarin can be damaging to the liver in high doses or long term. Therefore, using cassia cinnamon has less coumarin and it tastes better too. Research shows that cinnamon oil is quite effective in the treatment of tumors, gastric cancers, and melanomas. Another study found good results with lymphoma, melanoma, cervix cancer, and colorectal cancer. Cinnamon in its various forms have 2 chemical constituents called cinnamaldehyde and eugenol, from cinnamon leaf oil mostly. These have been used to develop nutraceuticals in this study that have been proven fairly effective in fighting human colon cancer cells and human hepatoma cells. As an antioxidant king with an ORAC value of 267,536 mole TE/100 grams. I don't know what that means. Cinnamon is a top contender to prevent free radical formulation and, by extrapolation, the resultant cancers. Frustratingly, however, the National Cancer Institute says clinical trials have reached inconsistent conclusions, despite an equal number of studies have found success with cinnamon as a cancer cure. And that's that. That's what I've got. I just wanted to get those out there. I'm learning new stuff every day, and I know that there are 1,000 people out there who have their own research, but I guess I'm just adding my little part to it. I'm hoping that somebody out there who has cancer might be able to benefit from that knowledge and whatnot, because ultimately we've got to kick this thing in the ass and in time. Disclaimer, I am not a doctor.